Hello, good morning, and welcome to Labour Social, to Morning Brew on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. It is Friday, the 15th of March, 2024, and Sunak has apparently ruled out an election. Okay, if you say so. I don't believe him. I still think that there is a very good chance there will be an election announced next week. But that's just my own personal opinion, because Tories are liars. We saw this with Theresa May. She said, definitely not going to have an election. In March 2017, she said, I'm not having an election. A couple of days later, having an election. They're liars. They're cheats. They're swindlers. They're cowards. They're scum. So, but let's just do a little thought experiment, shall we? The thought experiment is, what if Sunak decides not to have an election in May? I'll tell you what's going to happen. May the 2nd, we have a number of elections around the country, not a general election. We have local elections. We have mayoral elections. We have local authority elections. And as a consequence of those elections, the Tories are going to get absolutely battered by the looks of things. If anyone saw Question Time last night, the audience in Liverpool, my hometown in Liverpool, I really wish I'd gone to it. If I'd known, I would have tried to apply for tickets. Johnny Reynolds, who's the Shadow Trade Secretary, was on. He's a friend of Labour Social. And also Stephen Flynn, who's always good, was on as well. And Melanie Phillips was on, explaining why the invasion of Gaza is a good thing, which didn't go down very well with the audience. But yeah, no one in the audience was impressed with Michael Gove's redefinition of what is extremism, which Phil went over very well yesterday on Morning Brew. Basically, their new definition of extremism is the Tories. They are the extremists because they're the people who have undermined our fundamental rights and our freedoms, and they're the people who are also undermining our democracy. They're literally the people doing that are the Tories. Always accuse your enemy of that of which yourself are guilty. That is something that is attributed to Goebbels. He probably never said it, but he definitely thought it because that's kind of the way it went. Anyway, Tories, not very popular. Not very popular at the moment whatsoever. And so they're going to go into these elections in May, and they're going to get battered. And then the Tory grandees are going to panic. They're already in a bit of a panic, obviously, but they're going to be like in more of a panic. And they're going to say, oh, no, what are we going to do? We're going to get rid of Sunak. Because don't forget, we had elections in May 2019, in which we only got 7% of the votes. They were the European elections, the EU elections of 2019. I think it was May, it might be in June. Anyway, they got 7%. And they thought, oh dear, we better change our leader. And they got rid of Theresa May and replaced her with populist Boris Johnson. Now, the Tories might try and do that again, get rid of Sunak. I think they will try and get rid of Sunak if he hangs on past that by-election. Not by-election, local elections. So, if he does decide to hang on, then, there's almost definitely going to be a vote of no confidence, I think. And they're going to try and get someone else to lead the party into this disastrous election. And in a way, this might be good. In a way, if they put Suella Braverman or Kemi Badenoch in charge and they lose this election as badly, the general election as badly as it looks like they're going to lose it, they won't be leader for very long. But there is also the worry of platforming extremists like Kemi Badenoch and Suella Braverman, who are extremists. Literally, by their own definition, the Tories' own definition of extremism, they're extremists. Nobody else took away my birthright to travel, live, work, get married, build a house, start a business, retire in 31 of the most democratic, beautiful, peaceful countries on the planet. Nobody else took that away from me. The Tories did. I don't know any of my other rights that have been taken away from me by anybody else. I know that they've taken away my right to protest, my right to think about protesting. They're putting people in jail for protesting for 18 months. They're putting people in jail for literal sex offending for like 4 months. Because, balance. You attack a statue, you can now get up to 10 years in jail. You attack a woman, 7 years maybe. If you're very unlucky, if you're the 1 in every 100 who actually goes to jail for such crimes. Under the Tories. So yeah, Sunak, look, he's brown bread either way. Like, he's a goner. The Tory Party are a dead party walking. We all know that. We can see it in the polls. We can see it in their eyes, the panic in their eyes, which is quite fun. But there is a worry of someone else standing up and being our prime minister for a few months, and then being a screaming despotic despot. A despotic despot. That's terrible. It's good alliteration, but terrible phrasing, Graham. I'll have to think about that. So that's gonna be the timetable for the Tories. But like I say, they might just go, we'll just do it in May. Let's get it over with. Let's rip off the plaster, and everyone can get on with their lives. Hopefully, that's the plan. That is the plan, anyway. Anyone else seeing Graham as slightly blue today? Well, I could press this, and I'll go slightly orange. How about that? Is that better? Have I got a blue hue? He is a bit blue. I'm Mr. Blue, and I'm here to stay with you. Michael says, do you know what would be hilarious beyond hilarious if Sunak faces leadership beats it by 1 or 2 votes, and then he tells his MPs he ain't going, and there's nothing they can do in that situation? Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, quite a few leaders, including May and Thatcher, actually won their vote to no confidence, but then left anyway. Despotic despot who despots despotingly. Yes. Gallifrey and Wren. We got Patrick there. There is a vote to no confidence. The shit show will go on till January 2025. Yeah. Viv says no May 2nd election, sadly. Well, they say there's not going to be. But do you trust them? I don't trust them. Don't rest on your laurels, Mr. Blue Sky. Thank you very much, Simon, for getting that little reference. We were talking about Yazoo the other day. Penny will stand up and fight for the party, and will fall on a sword in doing so. Says Reagan Elite, like what you've done there, Reagan. Yeah, I mean, Penny Mordaunt would be the least bad option, I think, but I don't think she'll take the job, because whoever takes the job would have to be mad. And I think she's the least mad of the lot of them. I mean, she's mad. She's quite mad. She stood up and said she was going to stand up and fight 15 times in a row. It was very strange. She's not all there. She's not all there. But compared with Cami Badenoch or Suella Braverman, she's the bastion of common sense in the Tory Party. She's expected to lose a seat so can improve her diving skills in the Solent. With her sword and wielding skills, she can audition for the Lady of the Lake. Yes, she can. Watery Bints handing out swords is no. I forgot what the quote is. There's no basis for government. Anyway, UK government sucks. Tories choosing when they have election, give or take a year. It's appalling. Get rid now. Yes. So, also in the news is the fact that the Tories have taken another £5 million from their racist donor, who's not a racist. Even though he's done a racism, he's not a race. Do you reckon if Ian Huntley gave the Tory Party £15 million, they'd be saying, well, he did a couple of murders, but he's not a murderer. No, he literally did murders. That's what makes him a murderer. See this guy, this fester creep. He said, right, that Diane Abbott made him hate all black women, and she should be shot. And then on another occasion, he made a joke about people from India, having to go on the top of a train. Like, the guy is a racist. The guy is clearly a racist because he says racist things. That's what makes him a racist. A bit like if you go around murdering people, that's what makes you a murderer. The actual things that you do. But, £15 million, it's gone up another 5, which is more than I think the Tories spent in the last election. Off one person. Excuse me. Oh, caught that. I had to turn the sound off. I didn't want to make everyone jump. Right, okay. I'm allergic to racism and Tories. Question of lab sanity. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you. I noticed that before Rishi became a politician, almost every company he worked for has gone bust. Goldman Sachs got bailed out. Brace yourselves. Well, I mean, I was going to say the country's already gone bust, but also the Tory Party it's going bust. It's circling the drain. And look, if there is a concerted effort to get rid of the Tories, was having a meeting last night with our friends at Tactical Voting, and we were talking about the fact that one of the things that I think that would encourage people to go out and vote is the idea that we can destroy the Tory Party. You know, it's not just a vote for Labour or the Lib Dems or SNP or Plaid Cymru or the Greens, wherever you live. You know, it's a vote to destroy the Tories, you know, to crush the Tories as a party so they're never revived. So they go away, never come back. And reform maybe as a, see what I did there? As a moderate centre-right party instead of the far-right UKIP baiting, anti-European, anti-civilization party they are at the moment. The country's in a state. The country is an absolute state, and it's not going to get any better under these people. Another thing that was pointed out on Question Time yesterday by Johnny Reynolds is the fact that look at the order sheets. Look at the look at Turn on Parliament TV, right? It's quite boring. Not as entertaining as Labour Social, I assure you. But you'll see that the debates end like dead early every day. Like there's nothing to debate. Like the Tories are not bringing forward policies. They don't have any ideas. They're just treading water until the election because you know that nothing's going to get through. Like they can announce stuff, it's great, but seriously, it's not going to get through both houses of Parliament and be signed off by the King before the election. So you know that they're a lame duck government at the moment. There was a thing in place to allow, to force, I should say, the Tories into having an election every 5 years, you know, on a set days, whether they liked it or not. But that somehow got backheeled by the Tory Party because it wasn't in their interests. Jez Hunt said he'll be Seri and Huntley if he did that. He would be, yes. He'd probably governing from jail, just like, what's his name? Donald Trump. It's the right-wing assumption that they can say anything and makes it true, like the 40 new hospitals, so the racist is not racist. Yeah, and we're not having an election in May. That was a terrible wink. Better wink. Sam, I see Tufton Street's latest attack in 9 million not looking for work and claiming benefits. It is people who are actually economically inactive and includes anyone aged 16 in education and early retired. Yeah, like literally anyone who retired before the age of 65, which is a lot of Tory voters, by the way. A lot of rich Tory voters. Had these things, the older generation. We're going to talk about them in the future, like, you know, this mythical beast that used to exist in times of yore. And it's going to be called the final salary pension. And we're going to gather around the campfire or, you know, the burning rat or whatever we've got to eat. And we'll say, hey, do you remember when they used to have a thing called a final salary pension? And the little kiddies would be like, what? Well, what wonder is this? And they'll say, well, what happened was if you were, you know, you had a good job, right? You would continue to get paid the amount that you got paid in that job for 30 years after you stopped doing that job. Oh, wow, that sounds like universal basic income. Well, it kind of is, but only for a certain cohort of a certain cohort who are lucky enough to have a cushy job and now can afford to go on cruises and buy a new car every year and put an extension on their house. They paid the mortgage off because the house only cost $2,500 back in 1963. Yeah. Even though they haven't worked for 30 years. Cool and normal. Of course, who's generating the money to pay those final salary pensions? We are. It's good of us, isn't it? Anyway, by the way, those of you asking, I didn't get the job that I went for a couple of weeks ago. It's been given to an agency instead. I'll just leave it at that. It wasn't for LBC. Someone thought it was for LBC. It wasn't for LBC. It was for something a little closer to home related to this channel. Let's put it that way. Agency. Oh well. Expect the phone call soon. Plum Dove. Apparently Trump has problems with his bowels. Oh, thanks for that, Plum Dove. That's a nice sentiment to tell me early in the morning. I like that image in my head. On his golden toilet. Jez says, remember when they had state pensions? Crazy times. Well, we do have state pensions. It's just £2.50. I mean, we have the lowest state pension in like the world. It's like, it's painful. You have to pay into it for 35 years and then they give you bugger all at the end of it. Oh, don't be sorry, Sarah. It's fine. To be honest with you, I enjoy this job. And I know it doesn't pay particularly well, but at least I get to do what I love, which is talking bollocks. Talking about politics, a bit of pop culture, obviously, and just having chats with people and just, you know, and people say thanks and give super chats. Look at this from George. I keep saying George Dawes. George. Oh my God, it's early. Okay, I'm still drinking my coffee, which is tea. Thank you very much. If I was Sunak, I'd call him a GE rather than face a vote of no confidence. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And then GB News says, Lord Shouty. Yes, I was auditioning for GB News and I didn't get it because I wasn't right wing. I wasn't right wing enough. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Sarah says, we love you. Thank you. Mike Higgins, the agency will ask you to do the job and pay you half the rate advertised for it. I know, but I know how much that job is advertised for. And I won't be doing it for a penny less. I have a day rate and my dignity. Fed up with working for free. I'm 45 years old. I just don't work for free anymore. Stop it. Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much. Sunak must call general elections May the 2nd because he can't survive the fallout of the looming local elections massacre. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, vote general election or vote of no confidence. Either way, he loses the job. So I'll go for. I'll go. I'll take everyone out with me. Go down screaming. Go down in a blaze of glory, blaze of infamy. That's what I would do if I was Sunak, but I'm not. So you know. I can reach the top shelf. Yes, I'm a boomer and I know we're a blessed generation, says Viv. Free healthcare, education, dental care, affordable housing. That's why I want the same for everyone. Decent and civilized society. Yeah, Viv. Yeah. I honestly, the people I know who are in that cohort who are lovely all want the same thing. They all like, why did we have this? Why did we have freedom of movement to live and work anywhere in Europe and retire in Europe, but we're taking that from the younger? Why would we do that? Why would we make younger people's lives more difficult than they already are? I mean, oh my God, I read an article this morning on the BBC website about Blackpool. And it's a Tory, a Tory bastion for a long time. It's Blackpool North, Blackpool South, since 2019 have both been Tory constituencies. And the Tories have done nothing. Scott Benton, the MP for Blackpool South, he's enriched himself. Not the people of Blackpool. And it's sad. I mean, Blackpool has a lot of issues. It needs billions in regeneration. It really does. And I say that big B, billions in regeneration. It's something that they possibly could have got if we were still part of the EU. But they're not going to get it from this Tory government. And when Labour get in, they're still not going to get it because there's going to be no money left after the Tories have completed their scorched earth policy for this once green and pleasant land. Now it's a very drizzly land that's full of sewage in our rivers. Because someone's got to make money, always someone got to make money. The man who said these horrifically racist things about Diana Abbott and black people in general and Indians, he is a massive Tory donor, yes, but also his company has had massive contracts, especially in the NHS, from our government, our money, our taxpayers' money going to racists for privatised healthcare. Because someone's got to make money. The shareholders have to make money. There's shit in the rivers and the trains don't run, but somebody's got to make money. God damn it. Anyway, yes, we got Michael Warner. Thank you very much for £2 super chat. Young Tory MPs have asked Sunak to wait as in debt. Oh yeah, I saw that, Michael. You're absolutely right. This is true. So the MPs that came in 2019 have racked up massive debts because they thought they were going to be in power forever. They thought that the magic money tree would never stop showering riches from above upon them. And it's going to. And they're going to be stuffed because who's going to want to employ an ex-Tory? What are your skills? I lie. I steal. I cheat. I undermine basic freedoms and democracy. Okay, I'm not going to give you a job here at Costa because, that's not what we want. Another super chat there from Cathal. Woo! Happy St. Patrick's weekend. It is St. Patrick's weekend. We should do something about that. Big guest on tonight. Well, we do have some big guests. Femi Olawale is going to be on tonight, and also Alex from Political X will be on tonight, and he's very handsome, so you should definitely tune in. We have a guest lined up who can't make it this week, but they assure me that they will be doing it in the next few weeks, so please stay tuned. I won't announce it officially. Might drop hints, but I won't announce it officially until we have confirmation. But please tune in to the Labour Social tonight, because it will be a bloody good laugh, as it always is, and there'll be lots of your favourites there as well. So please join us. Please join us. And lots of other things going on today as well. We're also going to be having the relaunch of the intersection with our friend Rachel from this channel, and also India Wallaby, who joined us for a chat a couple of days ago. So that'll be going live today, later on. And also, hopefully, I don't know if this is going to go ahead, but a friend of this channel who we've not heard from for quite a while, Kieran the van driver, he got in touch with me yesterday about new Brexit regulations for driving a van into the EU, which are going to blow your mind. So hopefully there'll be a video of me and him going up either today or maybe over the weekend if I stagger it a bit. Also, 1 o'clock today, the agenda with me and Phil. Two very different personalities talking about what's been going on in the news and politics this week. Is it a blurry guy called Dave? Is it Vorders? Well, it could be either, actually. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. It's not corruption when one donor is donating nearly half the Tories' money. Is it not corruption? No, Sarah. Not corruption at all. There's going to be no election. It wasn't racist. We didn't lie to the Queen. Brexit is going to be a brilliant thing. It's going to be a Titanic success. We never lie. Anyway, when we be able to see a dentist, or book into the GP easily without it being trying to get a ticket to status quo. Don't know why I picked on status quo there, but I just thought it was the funniest thing to say. I like the sounds of certain words. I'm a bit like Douglas Adams in that way. The reason why he picked 42 is just it's a ridiculous sounding number, 42, with lots of oohs noises. That's the only reason. That's why he picked it. Right, we're going to go over to the newspapers now and have a look what the papers say. Bing! Cops sued over shot sergeant. Easy for you to say. That's from the Mirror. Mistakes led to Mark Vassner's killer entering police station with a gun. It's disgusting and unpleasant. Talking of disgusting and unpleasant, it's the Times. Why is Caitlin Moran writing for the Times? I thought she was a Guardian journalist. Oh, well, there you go. She's got her Kate Gate theories. I know I did a thing about the photo on Monday. I didn't really want to. We'll probably talk about this a little bit this evening, especially if Aid Thompson joins us. But I'm quite worried about Kate, about Princess Kate. I think that something's happened that's really bad, and I don't believe the theories that are coming out about she's been locked in the basement, or Will's had an affair and she went crazy about it, so that the I don't know, tied her to a bed till she calms down. I don't think that's the case. I think that if it was something that Kate didn't want, then her parents, her family, the Sussexes would say something. It would get leaked. But I think Kate has said, I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want anyone to hear from me for a few months for whatever reason it is. And I assume it's a good reason. It will come out. But, I mean, you create a vacuum. People are going to fill it with whatever they think. And obviously Caitlin Moran there with her Kate Gate theories and her crazy Cruella hair, not Cruella Braveman, just Cruella de Vil. And Gove names Muslims and far-right groups that could face ban. The Tory Party, literally the Tory Party. And the Times here with 20,000 a month off work with poor mental health. And obviously, because it's a right-wing newspaper, they're spinning this as like, hey, people are just taking time off, for shit and giggles. When the reality is, we have a mental health crisis in this country, not helped by 14 years of Tory government and the breakdown of communities. and the fact that people are struggling to stay alive. And there's 3 million people using food banks. People having to choose between eating and eating. It's not good for your mental state. I really want a national happiness index. I want cities and towns and villages competing, not necessarily to be beautiful. I think that will come in hand with this, but competing to be the happiest place in Britain and for Britain to be the happiest place in the world. That's what I want. I mean, it would be a world away from what we're experiencing right now, but wouldn't it be nice? Like, that's what we're measuring ourselves against, not some pissing contest about weapons or GDP, but happiness. I don't know. I'm up for that. All right. Russia attacks Shap's RAF jet by jamming GPS. There's a story about Grand Shap's, for some reason, being in an RAF jet over the Balkans. Sorry, the Baltic. Let's get that mixed up. The Baltic states. And apparently he was jammed by a jammer in Kaliningrad. Whenever I hear the word jamming, I always think of the movie Spaceballs, where they jam the radar and a big pot of jam flies and hits the radar and covers the radar dish in jam. Dua Lipa here. That's an unfortunate pose for me to put my finger like that. I shouldn't. Oh my god. Dua Lipa's playing Glastonbury along with Coldplay. Hold me back. I didn't get a ticket last year. Well, I mean, for this year. I'm gonna try and get in because one reason. The National. That's it. That's the only reason. Bit of an expensive trip to go to see one band, but whatever. Tories urged to give further 50 million, 5 million back from Hester. Frank Hester, or Hank Fester, as I like to call him. And there you go. And SpaceX destroyed Earth. That's all I can see on that headline. Don't want them destroying the Earth, but there you go. Number 10, anxiety grows as angry Tories question Sunak's authority. You must respect my authority. So yeah, that's happening. Fears for patients in NHS net zero drive. Now, for those of you who don't like it when I start shouting, can you just turn your volume down a little bit? Because, oh, fuck off! Like, seriously, Daily Telegraph, fuck off. Just keep fucking off, and then once you fucked off, just fuck off some more, okay? Just fuck off forever, will you? Having a go at the NHS and having a go at net zero. Do you know what we need? Net zero Tories. That's what we need. That's what we're achieving. That's what we're going for. That's the goal. Eyes on the prize, everyone. Net zero Tories. This is bullshit. Saying, oh, but the ambulances are going to have to be recharged, and it takes all night to recharge. That no, it doesn't. You put fast chargers in. You know, like, and a lot of the time in an ambulance, they're sitting outside the hospital. So if you've got fast chargers outside the hospital to charge up the ambulance, sometimes, you know, they've got people in because there's not enough beds in the hospital, in the A&E. So, you know, that they're being treated in the ambulance, which is Tory government, you know. But this is a double whammy. This is to do with winding down the NHS, which is what the Tory Telegraph wants, and also moving away from net zero, which is their new bête noire. They don't like net zero. Oh, we don't want that. We want to keep burning oil forever. But everyone I know who has an electric car is like, oh my God, it costs £3 to fill this with energy. £3. And the Tories don't want you to have that. So they don't give massive subsidies on electric cars like they do in Norway. Well, actually, they don't give subsidies. They just don't put tax on it in the same way that they tax internal combustion engine cars. And that's why last year in Norway, 92% of new cars sold were electric. And this year, they're hoping that 100% of new cars sold will be electric. Meanwhile, in the UK, that figure was around 15% and actually decreased last year. Because the Tories like, well, you know, if you're very rich, you can afford one of these things. But everybody else, they can suffer in their jocks. The Vimes boot index kicking in there. Once again, it's occupied by a bunch of botherers now. Are you talking about the Telegraph? We've got Dua Lipa at Glastonbury at the top of the Independent for some reason. Brew Bell True inside Israel's blockade, and UN warns of man-made famine. according to Melanie Phillips last night on Question Time, the UN are lying, and so are Medicine Sans Frontier, and so are the Red Cross. They're just all lying, and everyone's got enough food, and everyone's having a really nice time in Gaza. All right, Mel. Putin targeted UK minister in cyber attack on RAF jet. This is about Grant Shapps again, or Commune Stockheath, as I like to call him. Being me up, Scotty. This is about getting drunk in space. I met an astronaut once. I went for dinner with him, and a NASA astronaut, and I did get to ask the question if anyone's joined the 100-mile high club, and he said, yeah, probably actually, because there's been some married couples up in space. Anyway, moving swiftly. You want the answers to these questions. Daily Express. Victory. Esther wins common debate on right to die. So she doesn't win the debate. Okay, so this headline is just so tabloid. Right, first of all, it makes it sound like she's won a debate in the Commons, which obviously she can't do because she's not an MP. Okay. What she's won is there's going to be a Commons debate on the right to die. That was her win. She's pushed for this, and there's going to be a debate. But that looks like... Anyway, Johnny Copperhead, Brett Noir, wasn't she a barmaid in Corrie? Yes, she was. That's very true. Thank you very much for the super chat and the joke. And finally, we've got the Financial Times. Working hours for Commons hit record low under Sunak, which is something that I mentioned earlier in the show, which is basically no one's doing any work in the Commons. We are a rudderless ship, an engineless ship, a sailless ship. We are just literally bobbing up and down in the wet desert that is the ocean. Not going anywhere except where we're possibly blown by the four winds. Actually, we're not even been doing that because we're in the doldrums. So we're just bobbing up and down, going nowhere, waving to the occasional turtle or pod of dolphins that jump past, laughing at us because they've still got their EU citizenship and they can go wherever the hell they want, as we can't leave the boat because, freedom. We got our country back. One last thing I want to say before I go. I just find it hilarious. We'll talk about this probably in the Labour Social tonight at 9 o'clock. 9 till 11. Drop in, drop out. It's up to you. It's very relaxed. Very funny, usually. I've had episodes of the Labour Social where my face has actually hurt afterwards from smiling and laughing so much. And I think it's one of those things where we just need a little bit of, obviously politics is a little bit, it's a bit gloomy, isn't it? It's a little bit depressing. So I feel like we need to have a way of expressing how we feel about it. Like, have I got news for you, or mock the week, or whatever else the Tories want to try and take off the TV, the MASH report. Broken News, Larry and Paul. If you're not subscribed to Broken News, Larry and Paul, please get onto that because it is very, very good. And we might be getting Larry and or Paul on the Labour Social at some point very soon. Hopefully, also we're going to try and get Marina and Gemma from the trawl onto the Labour Social. So I'm making the phone calls. I'm making the phone calls because we're coming up to the 1 year anniversary of the Labour Social. Labour Social, the channel. It started at the beginning of March last year, and since then we've managed to put out a weekday show that the Lee Anderson defection. The first thing he said when he stood up on that stage, stuck behind a plant or a tree or a flag or something, going, "What are you laughing at?" He said, "I want my country back." And I was just like, mate, you got your country back. You got your Brexit that you wanted. That was getting your country back. You got it, and you're still not happy. And that's the problem with the people on the right. There's no placating them. There's no point where they're like, "Oh yeah, I've got enough money now. Yeah, I've destroyed enough lives now. I'm happy now. I've got to the point. Be the richest person in the world, and yet still it's not enough. It's never enough." And I think that's the big difference between the people who are, normally on the left and people who are on the right. People on the left can go, "Yeah, this is enough," and this is linked with happiness. Because if you can be happy with what you've got and go, "Yeah, okay, this will do." Like, I feel like I was 15 years ago. I was living in a cold water flat in North Liverpool, but, I was pretty happy. There were services there for me. My friends were getting helped out with Sure Start, young families, and the New Deal for musicians. and connections, things like that, getting them into work, getting people training, getting people into university. I mean, it was all there. And that would do me, you know. Obviously, we can always do more. But in terms of my happiness and my family's happiness, we were a lot happier then. And that's what I want. When people say, I want our country back, I want our happiness back. Because sure as shit ain't going to get it off the Tories. And in order for that to happen, I'm not afraid to say, I'm gleeful to say that is going to require the destruction, the absolute annihilation, the takeoff and nuke the site from orbit of the Tory Party. It's the only way to be sure. So until then, right, I'll be back at 1 o'clock with Phil for Morning Brew. Thank you very much for the comments. Please give us a like on the way out. Thanks for the super chats. You're awesome. You keep us afloat. Keep me in, beer. And I will be back at 1 o'clock with the agenda with Phil Morehouse. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and